I'm just going to let you guys know right now. Drew knows that I'm really good with money. I'm really good with coming up with business ideas. I'm really like creative. But like the fact that Drew did the math in his head, I was like, whoa, how did he do the math so fast? I am not a math person. It naturally comes to you.
If you're just going into it, like say like for the money, like I just want to make a buttload of money. The first physician that throws a scalpel at you, you're going to be like, this ain't worth it. I'm done. You know, but if you have that internal drive of like, no, this is my passion. This is my dream. This is what I want to do. You're going to like duck, dodge, and dip and be like, ha, try to get me next time, dude. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Hey There Adulting.
I'm Jeena.
And I'm Drue.
Hey There Adulting is where people who can't adult find a diverse, inclusive community to figure life out with. I am very hesitant to even talk about our topic today because people are not going to want to take your advice.
I actually have great career advice. I do.
He does. No, you really do. You're one of the first people that whenever people are trying to figure out career-wise what to do, you're the first people I always tell them to like contact and talk to because you have changed careers and done really well in all these careers. You have gone to like really fast with each of these careers. The way that you process and think about how you want to do things, what career to choose, like all of it, I think you just are very...
I basically play chess while everyone else plays checkers.
Man, you're not...
I thought that was a good one.
He's way better at talking about careers and job opportunities and looking for new jobs than he is about jokes, dad jokes.
I think I'm even better talking to careers when I talk to the person a little bit and find out a little bit more about them and what their goals are and what they're seeking. Because it really is like with a career, what it is like very individualized to that person and what they're wanting. And then whatever they're wanting are the actions they're taking, showing that that's what they're striving for. True. So like if you just want a 9-to-5 that pays really well,
which nothing's wrong with that.
Absolutely nothing wrong with that. And you want to like work from home, like you should probably lean towards like IT.
There's other opportunities.
There is other, but like as far as like demand and pay for a job, if you have any kind of computer savviness, and even if you're a little bit younger, you're automatically getting that now just the way that kids are growing up. But anyway, yeah, I think once I talk to a person and see what they want and really get what some of their values are and stuff, like I feel I have a good idea of like being able to guide them on what actions to take to get to where they want to be.
Okay. That's true. But I also feel like it depends on maybe not just their personality, but like maybe their big goals. Because I've seen you where you're like, look, if you're just really just wanting to make a lot of money, these are some of the careers I would look at. These are some of the classes I think you should look at, schools or colleges you should look at. Because some people are not trying to base it on their personality. Some people are just like, I want to make a lot of money, or I want to be able to grow fast within a certain industry and get really high up. And you've been able to kind of steer them in that right way. Yeah,
I would agree.
I also remember too, what was it? The kids were really young. It's when the kids were at preschool. So I would say the big three. When you gave that class about... career choices.
It was the medical student. So yeah, was it Maxwell? And basically it was a group of like 19 or 20 high school students that were pursuing or thinking about pursuing a career. It could be anything in the medical field. And so specifically as a nurse manager, I was able to go in and talk to them and just give like the in the weeds, real life, like what they would experience and stuff like that.
Or even like, I think not just that, what they would expect, but you even told them as a nurse manager who hires nurses, what you're looking at their resumes. I thought that was really interesting because I think a lot of people, I don't know if I'm great at resumes, but I feel like you're extremely good at resumes. You're really good at like looking at them, making sure that you can fine tune it in a way that would make it interesting, making sure that it stays at the top of the resume like pack or stack. And I think that's really important because I know a lot of people struggle with resumes. I know that you've helped your mom have to write a lot of resumes. I don't know.
Oh, talking about my mom, that's a good story. Just recently.
Okay.
So just recently, my mom was looking at not continuing where she was. She was looking around at different positions and stuff just because like the money wasn't working out, and she felt she was being overworked. And so she needed my help writing basically a resignation letter. And I did such a great job with her resignation letter that they offered her more pay.
Oh,
And
I
not
forgot
only
about that.
her,
Yeah.
she not only got like a $5 increase, everyone in her department got a $5 increase.
Hourly increase.
Yeah. And a couple of the nurses got their bonus that they had been waiting for since January. That was like 4 months late. So they actually got back pay for 4 months too.
Oh, so not only the $5, but the how much it would have been if they had gotten it at the time they were supposed to.
Yeah.
Dude, that's a lot of money at a short period of time.
They like bumped everybody up, and they all got like the small bonus.
Your mom was probably like, I need you to write more resignation letters for me.
Yeah. And so I was pretty proud of myself because I was like, because I think it is a good stable job where she is, but she definitely was like overworking herself. And so my hope was with the pay increase, she could cut down her hours a little bit, getting a little older and that kind of stuff.
That's not what happened. She's still overworking herself.
She's just like, I gotta make more money.
Yeah. I mean, I understand because like, I think we're always trying to look for ways to like make more money because the economy is super hard.
It is. I think the best thing I've seen, and I think I've had this as my own mentality, but Vivian something, my rich BFF on TikTok, she really pushes this a lot, is that basically you should have a 2-year plan. You should be moving up or out in 2 years. And what?
Because Drew took that to heart, even before Vivian.
Yeah.
Like my rich BFF, even before he ever heard her like ideas. I don't think you've ever been in a position longer than 2 years since we've been married.
No, like one specific position. No, I've always been trying to move up. And so the first 5 or 6 years we were married, every year to year and a half, I was moving up the ladder and continuing to climb the corporate ladder and stuff like that. And so, but I mean, a big push for me was pay for that too, though. Because I knew pay was like really important for our family. And as our family continued to grow, I didn't want just to settle in the way like career wise. I didn't want to be settled. And
you didn't want to be like, I don't want to make this number for the rest of my life. I want to move up, which I understood, but it's really, I guess I would love to talk about how it's great to move up and to change and to push, but it put a lot of stress because I'm a person that loves stability. And I love, even though every single time you made a career change, it was like higher pay, better hours, but it was really stressful on me because there was just some uncertainty about it. Because we do live in a society where working a 9 to 5, getting paid the same amount for the rest of your life, we were taught that that's good, not to push the envelope.
But that's because our parents were coming off of
Depression?
what are they called? Not depression.
I don't know. Your mom's kind of old.
Not the four.
Oh
my goodness, Jeena, you're gonna get me in trouble today. A lot of our parents got pensions growing up. We're still in that early enough decade of life that like our parents got pensions, and if you work the same place for 30 years, you basically got your full pay in retirement without working.
Yeah, but no one does that no more.
They don't, but that's what we grew up with. Find a job, stick with that job 30 years, get your pension and your gravy in retirement. You don't have that anymore. You have 401ks. What a 401k is basically an investment fund that your company normally matches for you.
The company you work for.
The company you work for, yeah. So you can do like usually 2 to 5% of your paycheck pre-tax, so it's not tax, goes into the 401k. The company matches it, but you can't touch it until retirement.
And if you do, then you're taxed up the wazoo.
Yeah, you lose half of it, basically, from penalties. So a 401k is a retirement fund that you're investing in the stock market, and if you cash it out before retirement, you pay penalties.
Okay. And technically, you don't need a company. Like, you don't need to work for a company. You can do it on your own, but no one's matching it for you.
Right. And
That's the nice benefit of your company, working for a company that will do it for you, because they'll usually match whatever you're matching, right?
yeah, but
Up to a certain amount.
and companies have gotten away with like 401k is the best. You can retire off of them. But that's because they're saving so much money because they're not doing pensions anymore. Pension covers like basically your whole paycheck until you die. So if you're making like $75,000 a year at 65 years old when you retire, you're still almost making $75,000 a year. Retired.
Bring back pensions.
With 401k, you have like, let's say 250,000 or whatever. You can set your plan. Like they've made it really easy now. But if you have 250,000 and you are spending more than the interest, like let's say you make 10% returns, which is really good off of that, you only have $25,000 a year to live off of. So if you are at a career right now that has a 401k, you need to get into your website for your 401k, see how much you need to contribute every month to get to $1 million by retirement age. And if you can't make it to $1 million by retirement age, you can't retire. That's without inflation too. So that's with in 30 or 40 years, $1 million having the same buying power right now. You know?
Cool. I know all this. I
You
know
just don't
all
like
this.
to hear it.
I don't like to hear it because it makes my brain hurt. I'm just going to let you guys know right now. Drew knows that I'm really good with money. I'm really good with coming up with business ideas. I'm really like creative and like that way but like the fact that Drew did the math in his head, I was like, whoa, how did he do the math so fast? I am not a math person. And so it takes me a little bit longer. It naturally comes to you. You do it so quickly in your head. I cannot. I typically, whenever I'm the person in the group, whenever someone's throwing numbers out and they're like, what's the answer? I will just wait for the first person to say a number. And they're like, I agree. That's what I got. I don't care if it's wrong or right. I just don't want to be the first. Because I can't do it that fast.
Just go with the crowd.
I go with the crowd with math. Not for anything else, but when we're doing math, I go with the crowd.
Hilarious. I worked with one nurse that had been working for 15 years at the same hospital, and she had, I think, 180,000
in her 401k.
In her 401k.
How many years?
15 years. And so, I mean, even if you doubled that, right? That's like it would build year on year. Like she's not like Social Security. You can't live off that. You can't live off like Medicaid and Medicare don't really help that much anymore. And so I think you're getting $2,500 or $3,000 a month right now for retirement. And the average rent is $2,000. So unless you like own your house and stuff like it, there's a lot of things that are really dependent on that 401k. And yeah, basically just seeing that, like,
but I wouldn't say not to do a 401k. I just shouldn't be your only.
Yes, you have to have like almost like multiple streams of income and stuff like that, like building your own business and those kind of things to really generate enough income to retire. I mean, you could get a house and stay there for 30 years and pay your house off and then just keep all your utilities and then you'd probably be okay. But then what happens if your property tax goes up by $2,000 or $3,000 in a year?
Which happens.
If you live in Alabama and you're over 65, you don't pay property tax.
Move to Alabama, y'all.
Move to Alabama.
No, don't.
My dad has a plot. I could put a double wide on for us.
For who?
For us.
A what?
A double wide.
What is that?
Let's go to Alabama.
What was that?
That's my new career. We're going to become farmers in Alabama.
I'm not a farmer. I'm a city slicker through and through.
We're going to live off grid. Get some solar panels.
It's not happening.
Why not?
Because you married the wrong wife.
We'll get a little lake with some fish. I'll go fishing every day.
It's still not happening.
See, careers are so hard. I really like talking to young people about their career path. Like right before they graduate high school or a year out of high school about careers. Because like I forget how scary that time period is and how they really just don't know what they're going to do. And they're kind of jumping off into this deep end of like, I kind of learned about this, but like, this is what I want to do. And I can tell when I talk to somebody who is going to accomplish their goals and be there and who's not. Because the people that are going to accomplish their goals, like they've researched their schools, they know how much it's going to cost, they're searching scholarships. Like there's all these things that I didn't do as a young adult.
Oh, so
right?
You feel like them already taking the steps at such a young age will let you know how successful they will be by 30.
Yep.
Or they're in their 30s.
Yeah. Like Panda is going to do something with computers or technology or science. Like his mind is already driven to be like, I want to take those classes. When can I do more? How can I do more?
I wouldn't say, I don't know if I agree with that because like I feel like that's because we're so close with our kids that you're able to predict.
For Panda, yes. But let's take like Hannah, for example. Right?
Okay.
Our friend Hannah, she is going to be an anesthesiologist assistant.
Oh, you know that?
Yes. 100%. Like she's going to make it.
Oh, I feel like she'll make it because she's very intelligent, right? But I also feel like there are so many other factors that determine why I think so too. Not just because like she's made so many steps in her life at such a young age to know that she will. Because another thing that I feel like is another indicator is who her parents are. Her dad was in the medical field as well, which is why I would say, hey, that's another indicator of why she would choose that path.
Yeah, but she's also talked about her drive because of her parents and wanting in some ways to replicate what her dad did. Like that, but that's another internal factor that's going to push her through those hard times and be like, this is worth it. Because she's going to go through some really hard like medical classes.
Oh, yeah.
And she's going to get into the OR with like some doctors and surgeons that are not nice. You know, and you have to have that internal drive to be like, no, I'm pushing past that. You know, if you're just going into it, like say like for the money, like I just want to make a buttload of money. The first physician that throws a scalpel at you, you're going to be like, this ain't worth it. Ain't worth my life. I'm done. You know, but if you have that internal drive of like, no, this is my passion. This is my dream. This is what I want to do. Right. You're going to like duck, dodge and dip and be like, ha, try to get me next time, dude.
Okay. I'm just gonna gloss over that. How did you pick your path or your career? Because I think that's something that because you have had 3 careers in the last 13 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which isn't bad when you say it like that. 13 years is a long time.
Technically, we would have been starting over 3 times before you got your pension.
Yeah, but if someone offered me a pension, I may have been more willing to stay there.
That's a lie.
That's not.
I already know that's a lie.
That's not.
That's a lie. Because even in your first job, you had a really good chance of becoming a CNO.
Yeah, director.
Okay, whatevs. You had a really good chance.
Yeah.
Like really, really good chance in a short period of time, like within like.
No, that was like my next step.
Yeah.
Was director, yeah.
And so what I'm saying is correct.
Okay, let me get to your question because I feel like this is a Bash Drew session coming up.
It's not a Bash Drew.
I'm going to divert you.
I think you guys have heard me say how
you into an
intelligent
awesome Drew.
he is
awesome
and how
Drew.
awesome you are at this. But again, this actually, can we also let them know, this has been one of the things that has caused a lot of disagreements in our marriage. Because he's changed careers so often, and each time he would change careers, every time he would change careers, it was never anything similar.
2 times.
Never.
Technically
it
2
was
times. It was similar. You cannot say that. You
Go
cannot
ahead.
say that. Before we got married, yes, I was all over the place. But after we got married and I said, I am a man with responsibilities, boom, I was laser focused.
Tell him the careers.
Here's my careers. I am a registered nurse, a bachelor's in nursing. And then I got into the pest control industry. And I am a licensed pest control technician and operator. That's it. That's the 2 careers.
And now, you're now an entrepreneur.
Yeah, that lines up with like the pest control license.
Yes and no.
What do you mean?
Yes and no.
right now I've like started and running my own pest control business.
Yeah, but those it's still you worked for a company, and yes, okay, maybe the last two are they're similar.
So 2.5 career changes.
3 career changes.
It's not 3
because entrepreneurship I think has always been a goal for you in some way.
It has.
And I would count the entrepreneurship or being an entrepreneur as a different career. The fact that it matches up, I think that was just like you knowing, like, I know how to run this and I can do it very efficiently. And like, my goodness, like, you guys have been doing so great. Your company has done so well. But I also think about pest control, which is something that you knew a lot about because you're very good with like numbers, and you're also very good at like starting up businesses because you've had done that so often. But I feel like just pest control has just been the one that like you did. Like it really could have been anything. And if it had been anything, then I could have fully, with my full chest, said 3. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, I hear 2. I've made 2 career changes the past 13 years, which is even better. But you did ask how, like, did I choose my career? And for me, I had a really difficult time choosing my career. Before we got married, I did like every 6 months to a year, I would try different jobs. I would try like data entry jobs, fast food jobs, Christmas light business, like we're putting up Christmas lights, building in-ground swimming pools, working at a car part factory, working in the oil fields. So before we married,
CNA, keep going. I want them to know all of it.
CNA was when we were engaged and stuff.
And our first year of marriage.
Yeah.
Yeah, but keep going. I want them to hear all the things that you did.
That's basically it. And so I had this period where like just really trying to work to make ends meet. Well, first it was just work to make like ends meet, just to provide. Like so at 16 I had a car, I had to pay for my own car, provide gas, insurance. If I wanted a cell phone, I had to pay for that. Like I had to provide for myself. So in my initial work journey was just that, work, make money. When we got married, we did sit down and you told me like, hey, the job you had in the oil field was great, but unless you're going to made a lot, but unless you're going to make a career out of it, like I really want you to focus in on what you want your career to be, which was good because it was like, what's one thing? And I had looked at nursing before, and that was because I just in general like to help people. Like I really do. Like if I can help you, I'll go out of my way to help you. It makes me feel good. It's like that internal drive.
That's your best internal drive. Yeah, we've talked about that. You naturally gravitate to careers that will help people in some way.
Yeah, and so nursing really lined up with that. It paid well. It was in demand, so it made sense in a rational, logical way with having a family and needing to provide. And then it met my internal drive of like, if I can get in there and not necessarily save a life, because I don't think that was like my main goal to go in and like save people, but to go in and improve a life, you know, give education on disease processes, diabetes.
You had a very huge interest in fall risk for the longest time.
Fall risk and leaving the hospital better than you came to the hospital is the biggest thing. And so that was really what determined for me personally going into nursing and pursuing that, as I had this rational side that said you can make good money, it's high demand, I won't have a problem taking care of my family. And then the internal drive of, oh, it's something I could go in and I could feel good leaving at the end of the day. You know, even if the work was really hard, I could leave and say, wow, that sucked. But Miss Jones, like, she was worth it.
What made you decide to leave that career?
As I got further into nursing management, I fell in love with the management part and really helping my staff and employees grow themselves. So taking that next step, having education. Again, if a new nurse came in and said, hey, I want to be a nurse practitioner, I could be like, oh, well, you need to not only do this, this, and this for work, but you need to start networking with A, B, and C and have you talk to Dr. So-and-so.
And these are the classes, because you looked at nurse tests, but here are the classes that you'll need to go to. Here are the options for schools.
Yeah.
These are online. You don't have to go into. These are in person, shorter. Like, you would give them the whole spiel. And so, I mean, that was one thing that I loved that you did for a lot of your nurse employees, was just the fact that I remember one lady, you sat me down and were like, hey, this lady just had her baby and she's come back. I really want this like to be a really good experience for her, because I know it sucks that she has to come back. So whenever she had to come back, because in your mind you're like, anytime before, I don't know what your number was, like 6 months, that's way too early, that's wrong. And you're like, if I can't, if she has to come back early, let me help her out. And you like made a whole room for her to be able to like pump. You didn't want her to pump in the, what was it called, the break room?
Basically a break room or bathroom.
Yeah. And so you would sat there and got a bunch of like stuff for that room. I think you got like a chair from another part of the hospital. And then like we ended up purchasing a bunch of stuff for that room. So that way she had a very like quiet room, comfortable room, not a TV, but a fridge. So she could have a place to put her milk and everything. And you just made it like a lot better. I don't think I ever met the woman who got that room. Right. But I hope that like she enjoyed it, because I remember I was nursing at the same time as she was. And it's like, this is what I would want if I had to go back to work. And so, but you do put like a lot of work into, or thought into, helping people. And so like, I think when Drue says like, hey, I really like careers for myself that are helping people, then like he really means it, because everyone has their drive. And like my drive is like to make as much money as I can so I can create generational wealth so that my kids can have money. And that's my drive.
Yeah.
It's just like, I want to leave a lot of money for our 5 kids. Like I'm working myself to the bone. I'm budgeting as much as possible to leave them of like a lot of money. And that's my drive. And I don't feel guilty about it because I'm doing it for my kids. But like you're just like, I like to help people.
Yeah. And transitioning from nursing to pest control, it was a big transition, but it was more the management side that I was transitioning with. There was a lot of red tape in the hospital that just like you just weren't going to get around. And it just was like, the higher you went up, like I was looking from moving from manager to director, your hours just increase. Like your pay would increase. But I also saw that the life work balance just would get more and more skewed. And I was already spending more time at the hospital than I kind of wanted to with our family. Like I even remember Panda graduating from kindergarten, and I was supposed to work that day, and I went to my director and was like, hey, like this is last minute, but can I like get this off? Because it's like in the middle of the day. And she was kind enough to be like, yeah, you should be there. Like, just put in PTO, I'll approve it and stuff like that. But the work demand that was on at the hospital made me feel guilty for going to his kindergarten, because I felt I need to be at the hospital, like helping the floor and stuff like that. And so I just knew if I moved to that director position, that those responsibilities would just weigh even more. What I looked for then was I was looking for an opportunity that I could still have that entrepreneurial side of it, the management side, and help people and set a little bit more of my own schedule, or even just have more of a 9 to 5, because the hospital's 24/7. Like I'd go to sleep, wake up to like a couple messages of things that had gone wrong, so it was like literally always going Monday through Sunday. And so like the pest control industry and the company I went to work for like fit all of those needs. And it was technically a small pay decrease my first year. And then the second year, it was a pay increase from where I was. So I had room for improvement and had that growth. So it just met all the check boxes that I wanted to meet in my career.
So would you say like job satisfaction is more important than salary? Or what are your thoughts on that?
It's so individualized to where that person is. So if that, like you talk about like Maslow's hierarchy of needs and stuff like that, if someone is not meeting their basic needs, I would say salary salary will 100% overweigh job satisfaction. Now, will you stay with that job very long? Probably not. or you'll just go in miserable and then not do stuff and get fired. Right. But like, I think that's why like you really have to talk to somebody. Job satisfaction should always trump the salary.
But we live in a world
Always.
and society that sometimes is not possible.
It's not possible. And some people have to work 2 jobs.
Yeah. No, that is. And it's, I mean, I want to say that people who have to work 2 jobs, like they're probably like listening and like, that's not possible. Like I can't change my career. And like, you're right. Like in a way of not trying to demean them or not trying to say that they're not valid or not demean them, but like demean their like thoughts or their.
No, I know what you're saying. Like people are in those situations that it's tunnel vision. It doesn't seem you can ever get out of it. But I would challenge those people to look like, what actions are you taking to change the future? Right. And I know in those moments it just seems impossible. But like a good example for me is like, before we got married, I was working 2 jobs in Auburn, Alabama, while I was going to college. I was working at CC's Pizza, and I was working at an automotive car part plant at the same time. And the car plant, I knew it wasn't something like I'd want to do forever. But I also knew it was a means to an end. Like if it helped me pay the rent and stuff until I finished my education and got my career and stuff, it was worth it.
But you also had no kids, like.
Oh yeah, I had no kids, single. Like I would wake up, work 1 job, go to change in the bathroom, go into the other job, and then get home at like 4 a.m.
Yeah.
Get like 5 hours of sleep and do it again.
There's a lot of things that we're very privileged to even be where we're at. And then we made a lot of choices. And a lot of those choices were because of privilege. Like I got to stay at home and like I was a stay-at-home mom while you were making all these career changes and stressing me out. And
while I was paying the bills, you mean?
I was also paying the bills.
Yeah, you were.
Good. I'm glad you recognized that. But because of the fact that I was able to stay at home with the kiddos, like that allowed you to do so much. Like because you worked a lot, like you had to make a lot of sacrifices. But that was also because I was also making the sacrifice of staying at home with our kids to do that. And so like, I guess anyone who's like listening to this, they're like, oh, I've got these, like I've got kids or I'm at this job. I don't want them to think like there's something wrong with them or there's a reason, like there's something wrong with their choices that they're making because they're like, I can't, like, why am I not able to do it? And I think so we there were certain decisions that we made that may not be possible for everybody.
Right.
That made it where we're able to do a lot of things that we're able to do now.
No, I agree. And every situation is really individualized. And I could just tell people what we did. And I know us working as a team is what helped us make it through and what helped us make it possible. And so you're right. If you're like a single parent with kids and you don't have any kind of network, parents, cousins, brothers, sisters, like babysitters, like you don't have the resources, it is and seems impossible. But I can just tell people like what we did. And so basically when we first got married, we didn't get money from either of our parents. We started with nothing in our own personal bank accounts, basically zeroed out. We stayed with my mom. So that is one thing we had, is we had parents that were always willing to let us stay with them. So we stayed with my mom for about 6 months until I got into school in about a city about 30 minutes away. And then we were able to find really low cost, like cheap living,
housing.
like $300 a month.
$300 a month in a little trailer.
And we talked about it and we did the numbers and we basically just worked as a team. And we said, how long is the nursing program? It's 2 years. What do we need to do the next 2 years to make it through? And we did those things and we stuck to them. I worked weekends and then school during the week. And then I feel like one thing we did, and it shouldn't always be for like, if you get this, I get that. But one thing we did talk about is that we would move to Georgia as soon as it was possible.
Oh, yes.
Like 100% you said, Drew, I'm willing to put in the hard work and stay at home with the kids and support you in this. But as soon as we're able, we want to move to Georgia. And I said, I can do that for you. Like I grew up in Alabama my entire life. That's what at that point I considered home. Right. But I was willing to sacrifice because you were willing to sacrifice. And so I was out of school. I had been on the floor for 3 months, and I went to a job fair in Georgia. And with only 3 months of experience, I interviewed for a position that they were requiring 3 years. And I didn't get the position, but they said, we do need nurses on the older side of the hospital to replace everyone taking these. We would love to have you come up and work. So at the 6 month mark, we made a transition to Georgia, and I got basically changed hospital, got a pay increase and that kind of stuff at 6 months.
But that is something that I feel like we should talk about, because one of the things that Drue does that I don't know, I feel like it's the white man in you. I really do. Because you'll see qualification, things that they're requirements. You'll see requirements for you to apply for a job, and you're like, I don't have that, but I'm still do it anyways. And you have done it time and time again. They'll be like, we need this many years of experience. And just I've got one. And they're like, great, you're hired. And I'm like, I didn't think you were going to get the job. I thought this was just going to be a really nice interview experience, so you could be more experienced in interviewing. And you were like, yeah, I got the job. And
I think I'm just blessed with being able to compartmentalize and be a little delusional that it'll be fine. I mean, and I don't know how to explain it other than front facing, I'm going to go into it, I'm going to get the job. But in the back of my mind, I do have that optimism of, even if I don't get the job, it's a great learning experience. Because when I went and applied for nurse manager, I really didn't expect to get the job.
Yes.
I didn't tell anyone that front facing. I think I may have told you that I think this will just be a good...
You did tell me that.
Yeah, it'll be a good learning experience, and this will be my next step. So let me go ahead and see what the interview's like, see what the people like, what the questions are, see where my weaknesses are, so I can work on those the next year or two, so I can apply again. And I went in and I crushed the interview and got the job. And Gina's like, okay.
Yeah, and I really Drue did tell me, he was like, this is just for practice. I really want this to be my next job. I want this to be my next part of my career, to be a nurse manager. And so when he told me he was applying, we were travel nursing at that time. I truly expected Drue to get a rejection, hey, thanks for applying. Well, please apply again in the future. We'd love to have you a part of the team. It just didn't work out right now. So then when we got the yes, I was truly excited and really just oh, wow, this white man does get whatever he wants. Because I did not expect you to get it. Not because I don't think you were not smart. I think you're smart, but you didn't have the experience they were requiring. You had nothing on the requirement list that they needed. I mean, you did have the nursing experience, the amount of years for that. You did have the degree.
But this is where something that I think... When I was growing up, I thought this was old school and out the window and stuff. And just the older I get, the more I realize I think this will always be a thing, is how important networking is.
Yeah.
Networking is so important. And if I hadn't had the degree of networking I had at that point, I wouldn't have got the job. Because I had worked on the unit before. I knew the manager. I knew about half of the nurses that were still working on the floor. So when they went around and asked people, what do you think about Drue?
They all loved Drue.
They all were like, oh, he'd be great. I love Drue.
He's the best. No,
I'm sure that's how they said it. And so, but that was just networking. That was just being friendly with coworkers, trying to do the best that I could while I was working there. That's just all of professionalism and networking. And without that piece, it wouldn't be there. I'm sure white privilege comes in there, either with my attitude front facing or with maybe people's perception of me. I'm also a male nurse, and you don't get a lot of male nurses in the industry. And so I have a one up in that aspect as well of oh, Drue's not going to cause as much drama. My other
you love gossip more than I do.
And stuff. I love gossip, but I don't cause drama. I mean, with you, yeah, but not like typically. So the networking component is really important as well. But yeah, and then after working for a few years with the pest control company, I decided to take a break from it just for personal reasons and realigning my values and what I wanted. Again, that internal drive is really important to me. And that internal drive wasn't lining up with where I was at anymore.
Not at all.
Not at all. So I took a break from that and then started my own company.
And now we're here. Your company is doing so good. I'm so proud of you.
Really well.
Like so proud of you. Like I don't want to get too much into gushy, but I'm
Hit
really
me with it. I'm ready for it. I'm ready for it.
I'm very proud of what you're doing and how well you're doing it. I'm proud of who you are. Okay,
Oh,
next.
thank you. Thank you.
Do you ever feel like it's love you? Do you ever feel like could be like too old to change careers?
That's so funny you ask, because I love inspirational posts on like Facebook or Instagram or TikTok. You don't get like, I don't see them as much, but it said, "You're never too old to change." And it was a lady that listed her career change. And you think I have crazy career changes? I can't wait till we're 50 and we can talk about what I'm doing then. Because this lady at 23 got her bachelor's, 32 got her master's in something completely different, 41 went and became a lawyer. Like, and these were completely different careers. And then at 53, she just got accepted into medical school.
That's rough.
And so she like, boom, like every decade.
Does she have immigrant parents?
I don't know. I didn't check. I just like breezed through her post real quick, but it was like the adage of like, you're never too old.
Yeah.
And then you come up with like Colonel Sanders with KFC and all the career changes he had. And like, I think he was a lawyer at one point. Did you know that?
No.
I think that was him. But it wasn't until he was 63 that he started to find some success.
Wow.
You know, the founder of Toyota. I was telling you about him and all the failures he had and things he went through. So at the end of the day, no, as long as the drive is there and that's what that internal drive is pushing you towards and it's going to make you happy and stuff, it's not too late.
It's not too late. I agree. I think the same thing too. Cause like, I think once you find something that you really love and like truly just can always learn more and talk about, and then you're able to make it a career out of it, like it's never too late. It really is. Someone will want to listen to you. You'll find like it'll work out if you truly want that.
Yeah.
But I just want to also say too, is like sometimes it does take a really, really long time, and that time is so rough. And sometimes I understand why some people were like, I don't think it's possible for me, because it does take a lot of time and a lot of drive. And not to say those people didn't put enough time or didn't. It's just sometimes it's just so hard. Even
when you're seeking personal success and that internal drive, there are a lot of responsibilities that can clash with that. And so like you were saying, when we're young and single, like you're so much more flexible. You don't realize it because you think like, this is terrible and I just don't have any time. And like, but as we've been married and had kids and stuff, I realized like, I can't just quit my job and sit at home because we have responsibilities to the kids, or I have responsibilities to the kids and to you and to my family. You know how many times, I've thought like, let me just start a gaming channel. Like that would be so fun just to sit there, but it's not guaranteed money. And like, I would feel bad if it failed,
Oh no, I was only thinking of like the Rugrats. Like, I can't, I got responsibilities. That's what's just going through my mind whenever you said it. Not laughing at you. I'm thinking of that thing, that little sound bite, because it's like really funny, because it like when we were young and we only had like one kid, or like that's when it was the easiest to make a lot of these decisions. And then as we have had more and more kids, it's made it so much more difficult, because I would say, I know you have that internal drive, but both of us are, one of our drives is our kids. Like making sure that they like never know what it is to not have food in the fridge, or they never, like they're really, really spoiled. Like Panda's like, I would really like a book. And I'm like, say less. Amazon will have it tomorrow.
So I had the greatest experience with Panda yesterday. From my end, he probably hated it. We got to go to Party City to get tablecloths.
Yeah.
And when we were there, you know, every store I know has candy in it now. Growing up, I don't feel like it was that way.
It was that way.
Maybe it was. But I had just made brownies and we ate brownies, whatever. We get to the store. He wants to go with me because he knows I'm going to buy him something. We get there and I was just feeling in a mood. And he's like, can I get these fruit chews? You know, like the Mamba fruit chews? And I was like, no. And he's like, what? I was like, no, I'm not buying any. He's like, come on, Dad, just one. I'm like, no. No. Like the Batman. And he was like,
no.
For real? I was like, yeah, it's good for you to hear no sometimes. No, I'm not buying them. Mm-hmm. And he got upset. He got upset. And I was like, no, and so then the question, because he's very smart, led, Dad, can I get a debit card so I can always have my allowance with me? I was like, what? So you can buy fruit chews when you want? He's like, yeah. I was like, no.
We do need to get him a debit card. That would be so much easier than just giving them cash that I feel like they would lose so easily.
Mm-hmm. We do need to transition over, but it was just a good life lesson for him, for me to say no, I think. And I didn't feel bad because we just had brownies. So I don't
feel bad. You saying no to candy. You saying no to candy. I say no to candy all the time.
Yeah.
I think you had a hard time, and that was very aha moment because you don't like saying no to the kids. So the one day he's like, no. He's probably real proud of himself that day at Party City. I said no. I'm the dad. I said no to candy once because you just bought 12 boxes of brownies from Aldi's 2 days ago. Yep. Roll the clip. Drew, what did you just buy?
We all got one thing from Aldi's.
Drew, Scott, how much did that cost?
He got 12 brownies.
It just cost like, I don't know, $20 or something.
Drew Scott Wilder.
Yeah, I spent $300 on fireworks. I can spend $20 on
That's
brownies.
not how budgets work. I never want you to say nothing.
Wait, that's
These are the best brownies in the world.
No.
These are 12.
I had to get them before they went out of stock.
They were not going to go out of stock. They have them in stock all the time, babe.
We got brownies now. You want some brownies?
No. You never say no to sweets, to your kids.
The brownies were for me, though. I didn't want to say no to myself.
Oh my goodness, that was ridiculous. You did not need 12. You told me, hey, I'm craving brownies. I'm just going to run to the store real quick and go get a box of brownies.
Yeah.
And then you ended up buying a whole case of brownies because you thought it was going to run out.
These are the best brownies you can buy.
They're never out of stock at Aldi's. This is not like
That's
one of the.
because I haven't been buying enough. That's why.
These are the limited stuff. I know everyone who shops at Aldi's, we're friends, right? We're both friends. If you shop at Aldi's, we know each other. I know Aldi's has limited item stuff, but this is just the regular double chocolate brownies that they have all the time. And Drew bought a case of it, and now it's sitting in our living room. She says
regular. Wait till you guys taste them. Go buy them. We'll try to get a picture to post somewhere up here, right? Okay. Go buy them, taste them, and then leave a comment saying best brownies ever.
Drew's a chocoholic. Hi, you should say this. Say it with me. Hi, I'm Drew.
Hi, I'm Drew.
And I'm a chocoholic.
And I'm a chocoholic.
Don't touch me.
Your skin is looking awfully nice today, baby.
We need separate chairs.
I like this couch. I like this.
Drew Scott. Anyhow.
Can you scoot a little closer?
No. We already have 5 kids. We're good. All right. So if there was any advice that you could tell anybody about careers, work-life balance, anything about that, what advice would you give them? Because I feel like today's episode was like very like Mod Podgy, right? But there's like one advice that you could give them. What would be like the one advice you would give?
I'm gonna try to keep it to one like advice. My advice to anybody seeking a career or looking for a career is to network, find someone that does what you want to do, and shadow them.
Okay. That's really, really good advice. I agree. I like it. Because I mean, the networking I feel like has done a lot for you.
Yeah.
Like a lot. And I think one of the things that I think it's helped you be where you're at in your career and do so well is the networking. Yeah.
Yeah. What's your advice?
Oh man.
As a stay-at-home mom, turn into entrepreneur, turn into Alexa saying you're famous.
I probably would say that, like, as a mom, I would say that, like, I find your motivation because, like, my motivation was my kids. And, like, one, not to say, like, if you're a mom, your motivation has to be your kids, because you could be a mom and then your motivation is definitely not your kids. Your whole drive could be just the fact that you want to be the best and the highest in the career and stomp all the men like with your heel, and like, please, that would make me like, that's just as good of motivation. Actually, that might also be a motivation for me sometimes too. But like finding your motivation and then making sure that your spouse, your person, is there to help you with that as well. They're not dragging you down. They're not making it harder for you. If they are, bye. Because
you could change career too.
you could change your spouse.
Yeah.
If you were not there to help me, not to say like I would leave you, but I don't think we would work as well. Or I don't think I would have done so well. I already know how much I do for you. That's why that billionaire said, marry yourself a black wife, because I know my worth and I know my value and I know how much I've helped you. But I don't think I would have done as well if it wasn't for the fact that you were there supporting me, pushing me,
Marry
helping
you a
me.
white man. Where's that? I want to see that report. Where's that report?
Marry you a supportive spouse. Marry you someone who's going to help you make your goals and not going to harm.
Be married, right? Just
you don't
partner.
have to. Just be with someone who's going to help you.
Yeah.
Right? And
I
who's
agree.
going to be willing to put in their all and not expect anything out of it. I think you saw joy whenever I would crush my next goal or whenever we did, like I reached my next goal. And so that's all. And I don't think we would have worked or been able to be where we're at if we weren't both supporting each other.
Sure.
And so that would be like my advice is just to make sure that you find someone or marry someone or kick that person to the curb who is like, make sure that they are helping you. If they're not, make sure they're gone. Because
it comes in a very loving way too, though. It's not something you always have to ask for. Like, it's communication. Like, hey, this is what I want to do. This is where I want to go.
Oh, okay.
That kind of stuff. But I'm saying like that helping your partner really comes from wanting to see them succeed and stuff like that too. And that like it will connect you guys and help you build a closer relationship if you're able to support them and able to support them in everything that they're striving for.
Yeah. All right, you want to play a game?
Sure.
These are just career hot takes, and we'll just put agree or disagree, and we'll kind of go from there.
So if I like agree to the career or disagree?
No. You'll hear the questions
Okay,
and
let me hear
it'll
it.
make more sense.
I'm ready for this. You think we'll be on the same page?
Honestly, no.
You think we'll be opposite?
For some of them, yeah, because we've recognized that even in the way that we work,
With like risk and stuff.
and stuff like that. So,
I say go for it. Shoot for the moon and land in the stars. Jeena, you want some daily motivation? I got you.
no, I'm good.
I got you.
That's not what motivates me. Okay.
Agree or disagree? College degrees are overrated.
Man, this one's hard. Can I get a maybe? It depends on the degree.
Okay.
Depends on the degree.
And I would say disagree.
So,
But I know I'm very old school in that, and you're very much like new school.
sometimes you're gonna have to have that school to meet your goals.
Yeah.
Just as the way that the world works.
Job hopping is beneficial.
There are studies on this.
Okay.
You can put your sign up to what you want, but there are studies on this.
Okay. Drew is right, but This is from personal experience. I would say disagree. It was very stressful on our family every single time we changed careers. Because
I mean, if you're talking to anybody that works with my company, disagree.
You can never achieve true work-life balance.
disagree.
Oh man, these are hard. I disagree with that. I think you can find a balance.
Not everyone can turn their passion into a career.
With social media nowadays, I disagree.
Disagree. Yeah, you're right.
Throw that on YouTube.
But there's nothing
Instagram.
wrong. There's nothing wrong with taking your passion and it just being your passion.
But this is turning it into a career.
But I'm also saying there's nothing wrong with just taking your passion and it's just becoming a hobby and a passion and something that you love.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Okay.
Remote work isn't for everyone.
Agree.
I agree with that. There's some people that like need to go in.
Yeah.
Who you know is more important than what you know. /
Oh.
networking is better than skills.
Yes, agree.
Agree.
There is no such thing as job security.
Agree.
I'll disagree with that.
You can tell me your thoughts. Why? Because what?
Why is there no such thing as job security?
Yeah.
If you own your own company and you have things set up, like
And
I
even your own
feel
company.
like put me on the spot. I feel like there's some things some way that is
I've-
guaranteed.
Like what? Just give me one example. And if you can't give me one, then I'm right.
Job security? Being oh my goodness. Stop, you're putting me on the spot. Sanitation workers.
Seriously?
Yes.
I mean,
The city's not just gonna let trash pile up in the streets.
yeah, but you can still get fired from your job. I just don't ever feel like there's enough. Fine.
Military
You still
has some contracts and stuff.
dishonorable discharge.
Like, yeah, because you're doing something stupid.
Okay, but that's what I'm. The job security is not like I don't think
Job
there's-
security isn't saying like no matter what you do, you'll always have a job. That's nepotism.
That's not nepotism. Nepotism is someone already in a career, like something that you know.
Yeah, you hire your family and then you do whatever you want because they're family. Anyway, we'll agree to disagree.
Okay, perfect.
Once you choose a career field, you have to stay in that field.
Disagree.
Disagree.
If your job is contributing to your poor mental health, you should quit.
This one's hard. Overall, I would agree. I think there's extenuating circumstances. Like if you're having depression, suicidal thoughts, it's not worth it.
Okay, I would say I agree, but for myself, I know who I am. I would push through it, especially if it's like, you know me.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever things are hard, I'm like, oh, a little bit less sleep, that's fine, and keep working. That's just you already know that. So I would never tell someone no, keep working.
How do you type on the typewriter again? Because that ain't no laptop. That's a typewriter.
I like typewriters.
AI and other technological advancements will destroy more jobs than they create.
Disagree.
I don't like the word destroy, but I think take away. I agree.
Like replace.
Yeah, replace.
I disagree mostly because, you know, when they were saying like, oh, okay, here's a really great example. Walmart all of a sudden was doing like checkouts and like self checkouts and trying to save money. And now what they're doing away with now, self checkouts, because they've had even more thefts than they ever had before. And I think humans are not smarter than AI, but we always are humans are very unpredictable. And so in a way to save money, Walmart did this thing and it did save them money in theory, but then ended up costing them more money.
Yep.
Think about how many big purchases people were just...
I will argue here with you because that's not an AI error. That's a human error.
Okay, yes. No, that's an AI error.
That wasn't AI.
AI couldn't stop people from stealing.
There's not AI in self-checkout. AI hasn't been... Okay, here's where
Yes,
I'm
they
at.
use AI, don't they? They use it for facial recognition and stuff like that.
They're starting to break into that right now, but that's not what they're starting to use it for those things. But this is what I'm thinking. Your factory workers, where you're pulling off the bottles or you need to recognize which one's deficient and do your quality in checks and stuff like that. AI can do that in a millisecond compared to what a human can do.
Yes.
Once they fully implement AI into our society and stuff like that, I don't see a way that it doesn't take away more jobs than it provides.
I agree, but I also recognize that AI still can't put a human touch on things to the point that people still don't feel with or without knowing AI has had a hand in whatever it is. People still can't feel 100% comfortable with it to the point where they're like, yeah, I totally love this movie, picture, work of art, blah, blah, blah.
But you're focusing on what the industry has been focusing on, and that's the artistic side and the pictures and graphics. Wait until they actually hone in that AI to do the jobs that people are doing as far as like robotics go and stuff like that. Like once they hyper focus on that.
And you're looking at it in more as an industrial way. You're not looking at the creativity of humans and how us being creative and us being humans, there's some things that AI cannot replicate.
I'm just telling you, your mind is going to be blown in the next
I'm already
3
blown
years.
about what they get.
Have you seen the ones that pull the weeds from farmers? It's a tractor that goes through the fields and has a little laser on it and identifies weeds and zaps them. Well, we will agree to disagree, and I hope you're right that AI doesn't have as big of an impact as I imagine.
It will not.
It will not. So
I don't know. I know.
but I hope you guys got some career advice in here. I'm fine if you put comments,
Questions.
comments, DMs on careers or anything like that. I'm happy to get in there and go back and forth with you on all of that. Like it makes me happy. Like that, I could do that all day.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, anywho, we're so glad that you were sitting, listening with us. I hope that you gained something from this. Again, Drew definitely would love to answer all your questions. All of them. Especially like if you're in the very beginning of your career and you're just like trying to figure things out. He is such a great person to brainstorm, so we would love to hear your questions. I know Drew would like love to do some video responses.
And I'll really
with
do
that.
it. Yeah, I'll do video responses and I'll really do a non-biased, just bounce off the wall with ideas and stuff like that. Like I love doing that. So good luck with adulting this week, guys. Have a great week. Bye.